Now on Kiwi.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Issues of the day under T-Radar.
Issues of the day, indeed. Joining us from Gisborne Airport, the metropolis that is Gisborne today. It is T-Radar. Hello, T-Radar.
Yes, and bustling it is, the metropolis. There's something so charming about waiting for your bags, and then they sort of get, the guy drives around the tarmac and straight into the little bag collection thing with the bags on the trailer, and you go and help yourself. So delightfully provincial.
That's nice, isn't it?
It
Yeah.
takes you back to a more innocent time, a happier time.
Yeah,
in terms of airport security.
At times where you weren't frisked, I had to take off your shoes, your belt, empty
That's
your
right,
pockets.
yes, all of those times. Now, of course, what do they do? They're looking through people with X-ray machines that see right through your clothing to make sure you don't have a bomb in your pants.
Yeah, that was the stuff of science fiction when we were kids. We imagined X-ray glasses. Now they practically exist.
That's right, yes, they do. And I read an article the other day in terms of the underpants bomber that apparently he was acting alone. They say now, but I find that hard to believe. Some kind of a lone wolf. Yes, which brings me quite nice. My man of the week. Now, I can't remember his name, because I think his name was Greg Hines or something like that. He was from down in the Marlborough area, and he went out, he staged a protest, a one-man vigil against the protesters who were protesting the Waihope spy base.
Okay, so
John Minto and co were all down there. Keith Locke, I believe.
I thought John Minto was locked down after his last
No,
protest.
well, his megaphone is, I think. I think they're still debating whether or not the laws of New Zealand allow the police to crush his megaphone. Something to do with the Freedom of Speech Act and all of that sort of thing. We may not like you yelling very loudly at Israeli tennis players, but can we not crush your megaphone? But this chap at the Waihope spy base, he didn't have a megaphone. He just was a man who had found himself a piece of cardboard and a felt pen, and had written on there, I think, something like Waihope protecting decent New Zealanders, and he staged a little one-man vigil. I thought, good for him.
I would like to see a protest against the protest against the protest.
That would have been good.
Yeah.
Then you'd be getting into this sort of this elliptical swirl of counter and protest and counter protest, and then at the end, I don't imagine anyone would remember what they were protesting for.
Well, exactly.
And in many ways, they could have had a barbecue and talked through their differences. It might have been very productive.
It could be a cunning way for someone to infiltrate a group and then somehow just divide the group inside by splitting them up. Oh, we've got an announcement. Here we go.
Yes, it's quite exciting. What's this one being? Look at that. Is that not? I am some distance from the terminal. That is broadcasting over most of the Gisborne area, I imagine. It's the loudest tannoy I have ever heard in my life. And, God bless them, the people down here in Gisborne. How clear was that?
That was very
clear.
No
muffled tannoy.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. That was high tech. That was high-end hi-fi equipment they're using.
Yes, it was. I'm thinking in terms of that protest thing, maybe we should have a special day a year, a public holiday where we protest. And I would say that this year we should have a public holiday where we come together as a nation to protest our lack of public holiday.
Yeah, we should, because I'm very unhappy about this. We're meant to get 11 stat holidays a year. This year we're being shortchanged by 2. No Waitangi Day or Anzac Day this year.
That's right. They fall on weekends. One's on a Saturday and one's on a Sunday. Same again next year, I think, for a couple of them. And we live in a country with I think, a dearth of public holidays. And you get all of the ACT folk and like that say, well, business must continue. It's like, well, really? Does one day off here and there really affect the economy so badly? Yeah, I would have thought a day off would have boosted the morale of the workforce, and they would have all gone back to work the next day, productive and vigorous and stronger, having spent time doing whatever it is you do on your day off, which is probably working harder than you do normally on your lawn, doing the garden, looking after the kids. Madness.
Because let's be honest. For maybe 50% of New Zealanders, if that, so those days. Anzac Day, I suppose, perhaps more important. But for most people, it's not about the actual day that it is. It's just the fact that you do get that day off, and
you do.
And it should, and it needs to be written into law that you do get these 11 days off a year. Yes,
there are some countries in the world where they throw spontaneous public days off. Why can't we have that kind of joie de vivre where suddenly something happens? I don't know. The All Blacks win the World Cup, spontaneous national public holiday.
Yeah.
Or some other kind of thing of that nature. I think it would be appropriate if there was some kind of a massive tragedy, for example, a day of public mourning where no one had to go to work in remembrance of the victims of the incident. It strikes me that something like that would be a very good way to run a country.
Do we need to do away with a famous New Zealander some way, and their last wish needs to be that the day they die becomes a public holiday?
Yeah, Yes, exactly. What would have been wrong with the public holiday for Hillary's death, for example, or the Māori Queen, something like that, where we could go, oh, terrible event, let's have a day off.
Yeah.
Madness.
All right, well, let's protest against that.
We will.
Rather
Between now
than-
and next week, we'll get some cardboard and a felt pen, we'll write ourselves up a little sign, and we'll stage a protest.
Rather than the crazy madmen who were staging a protest against Transpower yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, if anyone lived in the Auckland area and the power was off, I think it was even half the sort of the North Island above Auckland. Transpower, there was a fire and some trees underneath their main lines, and burning ensued. They blew up and the power went off, and the guy whose land the trees were on, he said, look, I've been telling them this was going to happen for 5 years, and you think, oh, terrible Transpower, could have got in there and trimmed the trees. He wouldn't let them on.
Yeah.
They say, this morning, I think it's Patrick Strange, the head of Transpower, came out and said he is the most annoying person in the entire country.
Probably
and he just
was
would not let us on
Yeah.
to do it. And as a result of his his actions, massive inconvenience for many, many thousands of people. I could understand him saying, look, a little bit of compensation for having all of these power lines go across your property, but at the end of the day, his actions have resulted in a great deal of inconvenience for people.
Certainly was. The power was off here at Kiwi. We've got the generator that keeps the studio going, the important piece of the equipment, but no computers out in the office were working. And the aircon was off. And the beer was starting to warm up.
Good God.
I know.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. So maybe we should go and protest outside his place and assist him in perhaps having negotiations with Transpower about the fact that maybe people should have compensation for having them over the land.
I don't know.
Then, of course, we'd have to go and protest Transpower at the fact that they put the line charges up.
Well, there's that as well. And I don't know.
Vicious cycle.
It is. Did you manage to see John Banks on the telly last night? Because
No.
of course it's almost Super City Mayoral race time. So use any kind of opportunity to grandstand. And he was...
but I did see his comments on the man who stole parking meters.
Oh, did you?
Yes, he said he was some kind of reprehensible, a parking meter predator, he called him. Clearly it's election season.
Tell us about the story. What happened here?
Oh, look, some guy in Auckland's on the run, accused of stealing 12 parking meters. So why he stole them, I do not know. Perhaps he intended to make his fortune from them or open up his own parking facility. I don't know, but currently he is on the run.
Well, back in the day,
where he is.
Back in the day, they called him Robin Hood.
They did. So we don't know whether he was a vigilante looking after the public or some kind of criminal.
Right.
We do not know.
But what about
Regardless.
from week to week? There's always a new parking warden story.
There is Wellington this week, I think, offering iPods as incentives to increase the parking quota. Apparently, Dominion Post has been running stories. Whether they're true or not, we don't know. Regardless, I think the real criminals in the parking warden scenario, not so much the parking wardens, parking companies. Those people, you park your car in a pay and display.
Yeah.
You don't get quite back in time for any number of reasons. They've towed your car.
Yeah.
Criminal. What other industry does that, where they just randomly confiscate your property and hold it hold it sort of for a ransom until you can pay it back? I can't think of any.
Well, some would say some of these companies are just a front for other operations that are going on in the background.
Yes, they may well be, I suspect. And in the meantime, the poor old public has their cars towed.
Yeah.
What's wrong with a bit of clamping or a ticket? What's wrong with an infringement notice?
Or what's wrong with a cherry wave? Just a wave.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So you parked a little bit later. That's no problem. There's plenty of other parks around here.
That is right. Well, there are plenty of parks here at the Gisborne Airport. I'm about to go and head away from here to somewhere very lovely. Damp day in Gisborne, so that is always good throughout what's happening.
Oh, I was imagining a bright, clear blue day.
No,
what
that
a
will
shame.
happen later, I suspect, but rain has been gently falling.
Okay. All right,
We'll
we'll
see
leave you
you
to
next
it.
week.
Next week. Thanks, T-Radar.
All right.
See ya.
All right. Bye.
T-Radar live from Gisborne City there, leaving the Gisborne